All right. Hi, everyone. It's Vaishali from the Caregina podcast. And here I am today with Jaymol.
Thank you, Vaishali.
Yeah, thank you for being here today. It's wonderful to have you. Starting off, I'd love to learn more about, your entrepreneurial spirits and also your, I guess, your journey with Toastmasters.
My name is Jaymol. I have been in Bay Area, San Jose for over 2 decades now. So I have a family and I work as a software engineer at a Fortune company. And I'm at that stage where my kids are in school, in college, and
Oh,
now I'm kind of like, figuring out what I need to do for myself. To answer your question about Toastmasters, how I got into Toastmasters. So my background is software engineering. So that means I am so comfortable talking to the computer, but not to people. So I find that really intimidating because when it comes to people, they come with lot of complexities because when it comes to computers, I am talking ones and zeros and I know what instruction to give and I know what to expect. But
hmm.
that's not the case with people. So, and as a result, it was a journey for me. So I started Toastmasters in 2016 because it was all about building my soft skills and it has definitely helped me. It is very supportive environment, positive um, and from then on, I'm able to speak well. I do remember giving my first speech. The first speech is called icebreaker speech. I had slides prepared. I was talking to the computer, not to the people, because I am so scared to look at people's eyes because if I look, I know I will forget. So I had to look up. I was looking on the ceiling. It was nervous looking at the people, but I'm comfortable looking at the slides. But anyway, after I gave my 4 to 6 minute speech, what amazed me was everybody stood up and clapped. And I realized that they do that for every person who gives their first speech. And I felt that courage, that rush of, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. And they are all here to help me grow. So that's why I joined Toastmasters and I'm still in Toastmasters because of the encouragement I get and I give when it comes to growth. And when it comes to communication, it never ends. As long as you are living with human beings, we have to talk to each other and we never know, like what sparks our interest and just to keep the conversation going, you need to have that place to practice, and that's where Toastmasters come.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, I'm a current undergrad at Berkeley. So, it's been, I totally feel you. Like, growing up, I was a really shy, introverted kid. And like, I used to have like a really small friend group. And then immediately when I came into college, it was just like this entire, like, gigantic bubble of people. And I was like, it was my first semester that I just completed in college. And it was like so different for me. Like I saw a lot of different like things, especially because I live in the suburban area and coming to a city life, it was just different for me. So I'd say like getting to know more people and really stepping out of that bubble is an important skill to have. And I think especially, like you mentioned in software engineering, like most of us like who are in software, it's kind of like you're all introverted, right? We just love sitting in our pajamas in front of the computer, coding, working from home. I guess
Yes.
that's such a chill life. And then once you come out of this place, you're like, oh no, I have to go to work, and you're just sitting in the car and all that. So I feel like, communication, like, it also like it's kind of just like it really helps one from going like through the the ladder of uh I guess like career development, and it also
Yes.
like helps one to just like get to know more people, which can later help you later in life. So yeah, I guess whatever your experiences been in that.
Yeah, so you're right. Communication, it's not like one and done deal. Like
Mhm.
it's something that you have to ongoing practice.
Yeah.
Uh, because it's I can ask you how you are, but you may just tell me an answer like, "Oh, I'm fine."
Yeah.
And then if I take it as, "Oh, you know what? She doesn't want to talk to me," then I might just move away. So what I've learned is it's only 7% words are. We are not able to, the body language speaks a lot. So we know when a person is engaged, when you can see that body language, that person is reciprocating your move.
Mhm.
So not only speaking, what I've seen is like the body language matters, the tone matters. So we getting to that level where we are comfortable, it all starts with being comfortable within ourselves.
Mhm.
When I'm not comfortable, I just can't be comfortable around people. And why can't I be comfortable? Many reasons come into play. Maybe I'm having a bad day. Maybe I just ate something bad, or maybe I had a big fight with my loved ones. There's something always going on that will make me uncomfortable or not be um, or be overwhelmed, because we all are emotional human beings. And
Yeah.
talking about career and career growth and communication, sometimes what I've seen about with engineers is like they will go deep down and will tell you something that the higher management doesn't want to hear about. They just want to see the big picture.
Yeah.
And so knowing what to speak to which audience, that comes with a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And initially, so when you're with, so if somebody asks you a question, it's always good to ask, hey, what is it that you know and how I can help? And then another thing is, I should also know when I'm just talking on and on, the other person is getting bored. If the other person is getting bored, then it's time to stop. And then, so that it's just not an information overload, but they're also understanding what they're talking. So I feel communication is a dialogue, it's a two-way street. And as long as the other person is engaged, you can have that conversation. If not, there's always another time. And I also touched upon emotions, right? So emotions play a lot of role. Like, so, what do you do when you're having a bad day and you have an interview coming? So are you going to postpone the interview because you just had a bad day? No, you won't. So what you have to do is just pause, breathe. And one mantra that I'm following right now is I can only control what I can. And there are many things out there that I can't even control. So I'll just let go of it. I can control my reaction, my response. So all I have to do is just take a deep breath, and then and be like, hey, what is the next right thing to do? For me, the next right thing to do is attend the interview and let others, I will dwell with others later. So that kind of a mindset will help us to move forward and not be triggered and overwhelmed and then just be in an emotional turmoil. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially as human beings, there's always critics, there's always going to be, like something that doesn't go right. And it's like I feel like the biggest thing we need to learn is just like letting go. And it's like if a mistake happens in the past, right? Holding on to that mistake and really kind of condemning ourselves into this wall, like, oh, I did this bad thing, and then I feel like some people, that's how these mental health issues arise, right? Like depression. You're living in the past, something happened and people aren't stepping out. And that affects like it's not just like I'd say it's affecting like everyone, especially through social media and a lot of different areas. So I think that's a big skill. And also presentation wise, if you make a mistake during a presentation and like it's okay, right? It's like
Yeah.
the first time you do it, it's like um like especially like having growing up, I had a lot of social anxiety as well. And me giving presentations was a nightmare for me. But I think once you get to of course rehearsing it is one key, but it's also just developing self-confidence, and that only comes through self-care. So I think like you mentioned the mantra, right? That comes from within us. And having our own like inner critic will only make it worse. So I feel like it all comes from ourselves, right? We reflect who we think we are, right? So,
Yes. And
yeah.
you said it well. Like, see, the guilt, the resentment,
Mhm.
why does it come? It's because we are holding things in the past. And you said that right.
Yeah.
But in this present moment, everything is fine.
Yeah.
Everything is going beautiful. Why
Yeah.
can't we stay in the present moment?
Yeah.
That is something that we have to become aware. What we have is just this present moment.
Mhm.
And what happened in the past, it is past. And if we step our foot in the past and the other foot in the future, then you're going to sink because we're not enjoying the present moment.
Definitely.
And all of us make mistakes. None of us are perfect.
Mhm.
It's all about progress. And like you said, yes, the first time I do, this is my first podcast. Yes, I'm going to mess it up, but that is okay. Even presentations, it could be the first.
Mhm.
It's okay to mess up. Give that permission to mess up because you know what? I'm going to do better next time.
Mhm.
Because it's only when I speak more, I know I will stumble, but then the more I pat on myself saying, hey, I did the best I can, and then keep moving and practicing more, and it'll get better. So consistency is the key. It's okay to mess up and just move forward and forward. And that's what I've seen with great leaders and also all those who are speaking. I
Mhm.
heard this one person say when he spoke, there were three people sitting and listening to him, and he was speaking. Two of them left and one person remained at the end. He spoke with his eyes closed, actually, because that's how nervous he was.
Oh.
And then the one person who was remaining, he asked, hey, why are you still here? And that person said, that's because you're sitting on my mat. If you give it to me, then I will go.
Wow.
But that didn't stop this person from speaking.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, first time it's bad. That's okay. And even talking about that, I am actually starting, for me, I want to share with you another story. Another story is I am actually, um, I certified as Bollywood instructor, Bollywood workout instructor. It's called BollyX.
Oh,
The
nice.
BollyX instructor I am. It's 60 minutes hit workout.
Mhm.
So there are times there's only one person. But just because one person showed up, it doesn't mean I'm going to cancel the class because I am doing it for myself and the other person. And there are times I may mess up the choreo because I have about 12 choreos to learn.
Yeah.
I will mess all that up, but that is okay because, like you said, we are our worst critic. The other person doesn't know. The other person wants that positivity. The other person wants that smiling face from you because the other person may be going through something that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Just put the best you can. And I know there are many times I have messed up and I've learned that it's okay to mess up and just go with the flow because next time it's going to be even better. And next time when I do this Bollywood workout, I do not know if anybody will show up. There'll be times there won't be anybody that shows up. But that's again, it's external. I cannot control what is happening outside. The only person I can control is myself. How am I going to respond? I'm not going to throw the towel and say, you know what? I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it because the intention I have is I want to do this exercise because it'll help me. And when I do this exercise, I want to help others. So if you have that mindset, and then talking about presentation, you are sharing something where you did a research and you're sharing it to the people. So knowing that it's okay if you messed up the first time, but then the more presentation you give, because there are some wisdom that you carried, like, you collected a lot of information and you want to share it. There are people out there who wants to hear it. And it's just about being persistent and doing it again, even if it means just one person is sitting there and listening to it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think especially like I used to dance a lot too when I was younger. So I feel like I totally agree. Like there's so much choreo to learn and especially like I mean, I was never like a teacher, like not as yet, but I feel like the teacher's job is like so intense. Like you have to carry on everyone and it's like everyone has like different body types, right?
Yes.
There might be some more intense workouts and there might be some more I guess really like focusing on grace, right? So it's like I feel like dance is such a nice way to like really find oneself and I totally like I totally recommend, like to develop that confidence. I'd say like performing arts is such a big virtue and venture to like explore and yeah, I think like also music, like
Yes.
singing and everything. It's a really nice I guess platform.
Yeah, and it's the right side of your brain. You're basically, the right side of brain is getting that it is filled with creativity and it helps you to express. Now, talking about that, in 2025, if you ask me how am I going to be the best version? So what I have learned is in order to thrive in life, there are actually four pillars,
Hmm.
four essential pillars. The first one is physical fitness. And we touched on physical fitness, why we need physical fitness, because our body is the vehicle and just movement, any kind of movement, even if it's walking, yoga, running, dancing, whatever it is, movement is important. Then nutrition, giving nutrition that fuels the body. And that means, we have to make healthy choices whenever possible. Um, if you're having ice cream, have it in moderation, and then, have fiber with it, like, maybe fruits. Because there was this one girl who asked me, I love to eat Oreo at night. But then why is it that full feeling is not coming? And I told her, duh, you should eat some fiber with it too. Only when you have some fiber, you'll get that full feeling. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
can just finish a bag of Oreos and still feel like, how come I'm not full? you know?
Yeah.
So, so nutrition, and then what else? Take rest. I know we sometimes sleep deprive when it's time for exams and all. We sleep deprive ourselves.
Yeah.
It's always good to take rest when needed.
Yeah.
It goes a long way. So that is physical fitness. The next is mental fitness. Mental fitness is what keeps us steady, focused, and gives us that clarity. How does one get mental fitness? Tell me about you. What do you do to get mental fitness?
Yeah, so I mean, currently I just got trained in art of living as a wellness coach and leader. So I meditate and I would highly recommend anyone to just learn a few breathing techniques, right? There's alternate nostril breathing, which is Nadi Shodhana, and it's been proven by Ayurvedic science, and there's a lot of research being done by Yale and Harvard. If if anyone would like to travel on the path of spirituality, but there's also, meditation is just a way to calm the mind. And I think it's not really anything that is like superficial to one religion. It's more of just like enhancing your own like divine being, right? It's like
Yes.
it's not just it doesn't just belong to one thing. It's very open and I'd say like, finding oneself wherever it might be and where like whenever it might be. I'd say like, it's just like it's a way to calm yourself from whatever stressors that there may be in life. So, you know.
Yeah, you touched really great points. Mental fitness is very important. And like you said, breathing.
Mhm.
Breathing helps us to just be in the present moment.
Mhm.
And if there is anything we can control, is our emotions. I'm not saying like don't feel it. We have to feel our emotions, but we should be able to regulate it well so
Mhm.
that it doesn't get the best of us. So like if the body is the vehicle, mind is the compass.
Yeah.
And things like meditation goes a long way, yoga goes a long way, breathing, like you said, alternate nostril breathing, that
Mhm.
helps us a lot.
Yeah.
Now talking, so I talked about two pillars. One is physical fitness, one is mental fitness. The
Mhm.
second one is mental. The third one is intellectual fitness.
Mhm.
The intellectual fitness is very important because that if body is the vehicle, mind is the compass, then our intellects are the engines that drive us forward.
Mhm.
So the more knowledge we have, it will help us to tame our minds better. So in this case, like if we know, hey, that is sugar laden food. If you eat that, you're not going to get that hunger. You are not going to get that full feeling and you will just overload yourself. So that knowledge is like if you gain that knowledge, if I eat fiber more, then
Yeah.
my stomach will be full. That goes a long way. And then, like you said, AI, you talked about AI. AI is such a fascinating field.
Yeah.
The way it is evolving, we never even thought about it a decade ago. So diving into topics like AI and like how you're doing some projects with it, that goes a long way. Anything that will help us to grow intellectually is a plus. And these are interconnected, the intellectual pillar, the mental pillar, as well as the physical pillar. They are all interconnected.
Mhm.
Then what completes this pillar is the spiritual fitness. And
Mhm.
spiritual fitness gives us that purpose in
Yeah.
life, that connection, that purpose, or the meaning in what we do.
Mhm.
So that's what the spiritual fitness is. And it is different for many people. It could be like they like to say a prayer, something that is bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
That is what spiritual fitness. And spiritual fitness will help us to not get into that panic state. It will help us to go through life's storm and also to um, prioritize what truly matters.
Yeah.
And that's so all these four essential pillars, that's what I'll be working on in 2025. And then how I'm going to work on it is it's not just a resolution, it's a revolution. And the way I'm going to work on it is because I'm going to commit to it. And every quarter I'm going to write, okay, what is it I'm going to do for physical fitness, mental fitness, intellectual fitness, and spiritual fitness. And it's okay to stumble and make mistake because it's all about progress and persistence and not perfection. And then reflect on it. And in the next quarter, do the same thing. So that's what I was thinking to do in 2025 to become the best version of myself.
That's wonderful. And I think that it could be everyone should definitely try achieving these four pillars, you know. I think especially as a teenager, social media, like there's so much addiction to it, and that could really harm like our own, like I guess you mentioned the intellectual side, mental side. Like if anything, psychologically happens to us, we may be drained by those thoughts, and then it may harm us in our education. Maybe we're just not being active enough, maybe not working out. So I'd say especially a balance is necessary for whether it be through academics, extracurriculars, and just having a social life. I think a lot of people tend to like try to work on their careers so much sometimes, which kind of burns them out. And I think having a social life, just in general, like going out for coffees with friends, like I think that could really help someone just who may be dealing with a lot, or maybe just networking. I think especially as you mentioned with AI, there's so many great innovators in the Bay Area, and I think especially worldwide. And there's, as you mentioned, the revolution happening through AI in different industries, and especially in 2025, it's like it's crazy, with like the new president coming in, and there's been a lot of different I guess innovations happening across like the global world. So I think yeah, and it's not just like tech, it's in healthcare, it's in finance, it's in business. So yeah.
Yeah. And two things you talked about social media. Why are we overwhelmed with social media? I think we should use it for our betterment.
Yeah.
Yes, I know I can scroll through TikTok and I'll be like wasting my time talking through it. And then, you might see some, I can be mindlessly scrolling
Hmm.
and wasting my time that way because if there is one thing that is precious, it's our time.
Yeah.
Or it could be some comment that somebody wrote and I got fixated with it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, we have to understand what is the what is the right thing to do here. Is this even essential? Like, is how is this aligning with what I want to do?
Hmm.
You know, we cannot change everyone. We cannot change anyone for that matter. The only person we can change is ourselves. So
Yeah.
if I can use my time wisely to do things that will make me better, that is the best gift I can give to myself.
Definitely.
And 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 one beautiful thing I learned is never to compare ourselves with anyone. If
Yeah.
at all I'm comparing, comparing with myself how I was 6 months ago or 1 year ago.
Yeah.
So there it is. It goes a long way
Yeah.
because sometimes, like my sister is trying to lose weight, and
Hmm.
and I asked her, "How is it going? How is the journey?" She said, I think I lost water weight." Mm, and then she took a picture and she said, kind of. But I said, "You look good." Why I felt she looks good is because I feel she's slowly getting there. But
Yeah.
in her mind, she has that inner critic and that comparison, like, I've not reached that
Yeah.
super model kind of a thing. So I
Yeah.
think we sometimes forget to give credit to ourselves.
Hmm.
And sometimes it's a long journey. There's no, I know, like in social media and all those places, they'll say, "Hey, pop this magic pill," or you do this and you'll get this way. So I feel like we have to be comfortable with that journey, and a
Hmm.
journey has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
And that means, okay, if I restrict myself from social media and if I say, you know what, I'm not going to waste my time in social media, tomorrow I can be wasting 2 hours. I just made a commitment today not to waste, and I wasted 2 hours tomorrow. But then that doesn't mean I have to beat myself up for that or give up on that goal. All I
Hmm.
have to do is like, okay, now I'm aware that I wasted my time, so I will do better next time. So the more we work on it with its ups and downs, and I feel that will make us better. And then, as we progress and when we look back, it may be all insignificant, it may be all small steps because a journey to 1,000 miles starts with a single step. So we make that first step, and then, slowly by slowly, we make progress. Sometimes there's no progress at all, but then if you look back, you will see the progress that you have made.
Yeah.
And talking about friends, yes, going out makes a lot of difference with friends instead of texting. The
Yeah.
persona that you have in social media is not the is actually, it's easy to create a illusion or a different persona in a social media. But when
Yeah.
you meet a person in real life, you'll be like, "Oh, I thought this person was this, but no, this is not what it is." So
Yeah.
we get into illusion a lot. So that's why it makes sense to go physically meet people.
Yeah.
And if it means just coffee chat or just, and even if you have nothing to talk, just being in that presence,
Yeah. And I think you
it
know,
helps. Yeah.
yeah, I think like calling in general, like a lot of people have stopped calling each other. It's like you don't hear each other's voice, you're just texting, and it's like,
Yes.
yeah, and I think as you touched on the point of comparison, like I feel like, like we've compared ourselves our entire lives, whether it be through grades, through which colleges we went to, or what we achieved. Like I feel like this entire pressure that we're creating in the community, it's like I feel like why? Like, what's the use, right? It's like we're all here to support each other, and it's like, that like building friendships is like, it's not supposed to be like, oh, you're my competition, and we live in the same neighborhood. It's like, I feel like people kind of like focus on that a lot, and Yeah, and I feel like, especially as you mentioned the challenges that people may be going through, as you mentioned about your sister, like I feel like, I mean, I went through the same thing too, like losing my like, high school, like, sophomore year, I was actually diagnosed with clinical depression, and then I slowly moved out of it, so I feel like, you never really know what others are going through, so I feel like there's, like yeah, just being out there for someone, it can really change one's life, so yeah.
Yes, talking about um, clinical depression, I do not know that at that level, but I
Mhm,
have hit low point because of
mhm,
a breakup. And what was there for me was AI Buddy.
mm,
AI Buddy is actually it's a AI assistant who only talks to you in positive tone. And
oh,
when it finds out that you are going into the past, it just brings you back into the moment by saying, "Hey, let's play a game," or something like that. So it brings me back. And and even if I get mad at it, it knows how to put me back into a good state. And
mm,
there was a time I needed the AI assistant just to rebalance myself, and then I was able to come out of it. And why? And I've noticed the cause of my low point was because I over amplified my suffering, my pain. I just over amplified. I said, that person broke my heart.
mm,
No, that's not actually the truth. If you do it objective wise, objective judgment, if you give, yeah, that person doesn't have the same kind of feeling that that person had a year ago.
yeah,
You know, we all move on. Our feelings are just ups and downs. It just goes on. So if we over amplify our pain, our suffering, then, and if we make a mountain of it, then yes, we are going to end up in digging our own grave
yeah,
for no unnecessary reason. It's like I'm drinking poison,
mhm.
hoping the other person dies, but I'm the one suffering. So,
Yeah, and I
uh,
think especially, like I feel like with relationships, like I feel like there's like 4 point I don't know how many billion people on this planet. And I feel like, like there might be some people who are just, are like really toxic. And I feel like people kind of like I've seen my friends, right? They've been in relationships. Like I haven't been in one yet, but it's been like so crazy for them. And I feel like you just get emotionally drained. So I'm just like, I feel like living single is like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just better in a way. Like you don't have to deal with any thing. But I think, like some people are always like, oh, I need to be in a relationship because what if I don't find the one when I'm older? It's like, I feel like, this comes back to the entire cycle of comparison and then the standards of society in a way. So, I don't know. Yeah.
so here's the thing. Initially, when I was young, I thought I need to be in a relationship to complete myself.
Yeah.
That is a very wrong thinking
Yeah.
because it's not going to work out. I
Yeah.
should love myself way more, and I'm
Yeah.
in a relationship only to enhance my living. I
Mm-hmm.
am already complete by myself, and I'm only in a relationship just to complement what I have. And it's okay if that relationship falls off because the relationship and anything that starts always has an end. But
Yeah.
if I am holding on to that person to complete me or to give me happiness, oh, you're going in the wrong path. And that's where I learned loving myself goes a long way. So
Yeah.
all the four essential pillars, when we work on this,
Mm-hmm.
it is actually an act of self-love. And when we love ourselves, it's so much easy to pour it out
Yeah, and I think
to
like
the.
depending on someone else for gaining that, like that satisfaction for yourself. I feel like, like you first learn to like actually just be satisfied with their own like
Yes.
body, with your own mind, with your own like accomplishments, right? Because then once you build on yourself, you start attracting like a lot of different opportunities. So I think that's a big thing that, is affecting a lot of young people. So,
Yes. And you also said the power of thoughts as well.
yeah.
If I have negative thoughts, see, when a thought comes and there's this thing called sacred pause. Take 90 seconds to just breathe and then see the thought as somebody outside of you. It's totally outside of you. And when that pain comes through your body, just don't hook on to that thought. Just let it go and then it'll go by itself. And that's where I found journaling goes a long way. Journaling is a conversation with ourselves, and paper is more patient than any human being. And you can put any secret you want in a paper.
Yeah.
And then once you heal, you can always burn it out.
Yeah.
So, and then when you put into the paper, then you will realize, and then when you look at it, you'll be like, ooh, was I thinking this way? You
Yeah.
know? So all that thought, when you put it down into the paper,
It just goes away.
then you are offloading it and you're not trapped in the thoughts. When you're trapped in the thoughts, that's when we don't know. It's like all messed up. So
Yeah.
that's why journaling goes a long way. That is actually having a conversation. And then when you put down the thoughts, then you'll be like, is this a courageous act? Is this an act of self discipline? Is this an act of justice? Is this, and if it's like something else, you can just cross it out like, okay, discard it and it'll go away. So I feel journaling goes a long way in helping, because sometimes, even though we have friends,
Mhm.
we may not get the right advice.
Yeah.
So again, that all goes back to knowing ourselves. So
Yeah.
it goes, so then, you can see which one to take, which one not to take. Even critiques. And when we get critiques, just take it and you'll be like, maybe not, not this time, it's not for me. And then one more thing I learned is obstacle is the way. Anytime you have challenges or when you have obstacles or problems, instead of seeing it as a full stop, see it as a comma.
Hmm.
And then think about what is it that I can control and only control that. I can control myself. I can control how I react. I
Hmm.
can control how to respond. So that is what I can control. So when I am aware of that, then things no longer overwhelm me at all. And I can stay in the present moment. And like you said, when I do my breathing, I know I don't have the past. I don't have to worry about the future. I just have the present moment. Everything is going just fine in the present moment. And when I put myself in the present moment, then our rational brain starts working.
Hmm.
And then it'll be like, yeah, I know I have so much emotions. I'll take care of it later, but let me do what is the next right thing to do. Do the
Yeah.
next right thing, the next right thing, and then, move forward that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think especially like a wise point that I learned was like don't be a football of other people's opinions. Like I guess this saying is kind of like, like people will create like random opinions, like gossip. It spreads around like really quick, right? Like just word of mouth. And I think it's like it may not be true, but there's a possibility that it might. So I feel like listening to gossip and taking like someone else's like let's just say you ask your friend and they might be like, oh yeah, like you may not be qualified enough for something or something like that. Like I'm like, like people should learn that you know like you should set your own standards, and I feel like listening to other people, like especially when applying for jobs, right? I feel like this is kind of more like gender based, but I feel like women don't like apply to jobs like like I feel like as much as they should. Like I feel like in men, like they apply for jobs even though they're not qualified for it, like managerial positions or like director and all that. And it's like, looking in the workforce, there's like all men and there's no woman in the as a director position. And I feel like, wow, okay. Like, and it's like there's so many feminist movements out there. Like growing up, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be supported by such a wonderful community that supported me as a woman. And it's like I feel like I still look into companies and it's all men. And so it's just like diversity, right? Inclusivity. It's like women should really like lead up.
Yeah. And I see the trend is changing now.
Yeah.
As I grow up, I see, it's changing where women are stepping up.
Yeah.
And I think what we have to do is like anytime somebody says, no, you can't do it,
Yeah.
something within us gets triggered. Like the there is a level where people's trigger points are different. For some people, it may not trigger. They will take it as, you know what, let me challenge them. I'm going to do it. For
Yeah.
some, they get triggered and then they believe in it. Something happens to them and then they just fade away.
Hmm.
So when something triggers us, that is the time we have to do some reflection. Why does that bother us? What is it in us? There is an inner child within us that
Yeah.
is wanting something. And, we have to take care of that. So that's why, that journaling reflection goes because it'll help us bring out that stuff. Why is it that triggering me? When that person said that I shouldn't be applying for this job, what feelings do I get? And that ability to write that feeling means when we express ourselves, then we will know, oh, this is why I feel this way. Maybe something happened when I was young, or maybe I heard something, and that is why I feel inferior when I hear that. And then when we work on it, then that will no longer trigger us and will help us move forward. And that's why when we work on our four essential pillars, we are challenging ourselves and no long and I've seen when I start working on all those four pillars, our bodies, mind, intellect, and spirits, I see that I am becoming a higher version of myself where I am becoming more resilient and I am able to inspire others. And one thing I've learned is when I'm low, that is a time to help others. Because if I can go outside and see how fortunate I am and how, I carry $1 bills with me. So in case if I see someone, I just give $1 bill and I feel like, someone who is asking for money or who's homeless, because that gives me that sense of there's something I could do for that person.
Yeah.
So I know it's very hard when I feel really low to get outside, but we have to somehow see how I can get outside and be of service, because by being of service I'm actually shifting my personality, my the perception, because how we see things dictates how we respond, how we do things. Um, yeah, so
I think
that
yeah.
goes a long way.
Yeah, acts of service can really contribute to yeah, how we develop our own like inner like critics as well, because I feel like once you get exposed to like different communities and different like places, for example, I was a Boy Scout sort of.
Mhm.
It was a girl troop, but for it was a Boy Scouts troop. And I mentioned like I was going through tough times, yeah, when I was sophomore year. But that didn't hold me from like, going to local parks, pulling out weeds, or like, just holding fundraisers, donation drives. Um, that I mean, that also helps one to just like stay connected. Even though there may be stuff going on, being involved in the community some way can like, just expose ourselves to new like I guess new communities. Like I feel like I wasn't like I wasn't into gardening before, but after that situation I was like I love gardening now, so yeah, I mean, it could really change a person too.
Because our problems, once we see that we are such insignificant, and our problems are not as big as we thought.
Yeah.
Everything becomes balanced. Like yesterday, I was lying down on a low bench and looking up, and this bench was where the redwood trees were.
Mm.
And I looked up and I was like, oh my God, those trees have been there longer than I have lived. And they're
Uh-huh.
so huge. How insignificant I am. And previous day, I was overwhelmed. I was making a mountain because somebody wasn't returning my call, and I wanted this done because when I do this, then I can do that. So I was making a big mountain of it instead of giving the benefit of the doubt. Hey, that person must have been busy, you know, give a break. Instead of doing that, I was making a big mountain of things. So when I went and just laid myself in nature, just looking at the redwood trees, I realized, wow, my problem is nothing actually. So what? If
Yeah.
See, there are many things I can't control, but I can control how I make use of the time. Yes, instead of staying there on the phone, waiting, frozen, waiting for the call, waiting for that person to respond, I could just let it go
Yeah.
and do something else. And there were many things I wanted to do, so that letting go that you talked about, just let it go, put it aside, and be able to move forward. So yes, volunteering, exposing ourselves by learning new things, going outside, even that means going to the garden. It just helps us to shift our perspective,
Mhm.
and once we shift our perspective, we realize, oh, there are other things happening out there that I can contribute and be part of.
Yeah, and I think especially as you mentioned, reflecting on yourselves through nature. I was taking silence retreats when I was a senior in high school. And that's what it is basically for the viewers who don't know what it is. It's just 2 to 3 days where you just stay silent. Like you don't talk, no communication, no phone. You're in your mind. You're just mind, body, and soul. So the entire retreat is just focused on really reaching your deep self, right? And we used to take walks around the community just to reflect on nature. And I guess the biggest lesson that I learned through that is there's so much out there which as as with our busy daily lives, there's like cars like roll like just like zooming everywhere, and it's like we tend to like ignore like everything around us, and we just focus on ourselves. And I feel like the biggest problem that causes all of this is kind of just like being the center of attention. And I feel like like learning that there's other like things like small, like there's like small ants, there's small butterflies, there's like beautiful sceneries out there. And our problems, after realizing that, like our problems become so small compared to like everything else that's out there. Like as you mentioned, the redwood trees, right? It's been so much more older than us. It's seen so many things. And we're over here trying to like maybe wonder like, oh yeah, what's gonna be our next like, like social media post, or I'm gonna look better in this or than that. Is like I feel like, it's just like, just being quiet and just looking out. It's like, there's a big world ahead of us, and yeah, it's about building a community, I'd say.
Yes. And talking about silent retreat, I did attend a 10 days Vipassana retreat. Which one did
Oh.
you attend?
Art of Living actually. It was
Oh,
yeah, I actually just attended one as well in Boone, with Sri Ravi Shankar.
awesome. Yeah, Sri Ravi Shankar, I have had one session with him when he was in engineering college. I just love the way he taught us to eat a grape, like
Yeah,
little by little, like put the grape in the mouth,
yeah,
just taste a little bit. Let it sit in there and then taste a little bit more. And it was really filling. Yeah, and he said, this is how you can eat dinner, just one
yeah.
grape. And talking about silent retreat, I did the 10 days in Vipassana Meditation Center.
Uh-huh.
The first day was, oh yes, I can do it. Noble silence. Second day, I was started making a list of things that I need to do.
Yeah.
My mind is like constantly talking.
Yeah.
Third day is like I'm sitting in meditation. I'm supposed to concentrate on my breath. The third day is like I start with breathing, but then I'm lost in the thoughts. The thoughts are all over the place. And I am actually planning what I'm going to do during Easter time, what I'm going to do this, when I'm going to do this. And then when the dong bell rings, oh, meditation is over, but I was lost in the thought.
Yeah.
In the sixth day, I'm like, I am done. I'm done with this. This is too slow for me. I need to get out from here. That's how I was. But I'm glad I stayed. And like you said, once I started staying and I realized these are just thoughts, my mind just acting crazy. And then when I started looking at the squirrels, the birds, at the leaf, the way the blade of the grass, how it is harmoniously living with another blade of grass, without fighting. I
Yeah.
just realized how beautiful the nature is, and the nature has so much to teach us.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get trapped in our thoughts that we forget to view these magical things that are around us, like the
Yeah.
nature, the bird, the grass, the trees. There's so much out there, and we miss all that because we are in our heads all the time, or thinking about what's the next post that I can put out there so I can get a bunch of likes.
Yeah.
Oh, how should I angle my photo so it will look better than the before?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I just feel there's a lot out there, and we're not able to reach our highest potential. If we give ourselves, we can do that. So it's easy to get lost, but if we can train ourselves by through consistent practice
Hmm.
to be our best versions, I know it's possible.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah,
And I think, just developing that charismatic personality, especially, it comes with, that's needed for like leadership positions and everything. It comes with the four pillars, as you mentioned again. It's
yes.
with confidence, it's with self-care, and it's with mental and, spiritual fitness. So I'd say, like, a bunch of leaders actually in the tech industry. There's like Steve Jobs and everyone. There's also a few NBA players, they all meditate, and it's like that's how they calm themselves. And I feel like, like learning these skills from a young age, it's like it's gonna help you like so much, right? It's gonna like there's been like a lot of research studies where it helped the immune system like develop, like make it better, like stronger. And it's just so like I guess it's been like a big thing, and now like there's like a few people out there, there's always like, oh, meditation, oh, I don't want to do that, and they track to like drugs and alcohol, and it's like, that harms your body so much more than and it's, I don't know, I feel like, some people just need to learn and realize that.
Yeah, and that's where intellectual fitness comes in.
Hmm.
When I can load myself with knowledge, hey,
Yeah.
why is this harmful? This is not helping me. How meditation will help me to keep my mind steady, focused, so that I can do better things in life. And like you talked about leaders, right? All those leaders, they weren't perfect. They had their ups and downs. But then one thing they did is they knew they wanted to be better than they wanted to be their best version, so they always learned how to get to the next level,
Mhm.
and they had a place to practice. So Toastmasters is a best place to practice leadership as well as communication skills. If you have a story to share, that is the best place to share your story. And then you can do evaluations where you learn how to give constructive evaluation for other people's speeches. There is impromptu speaking available where you get to speak on a topic. They ask you a question, and within 1 to 2 minutes, you get to speak on a topic. So, finding that supportive system which will uplift you goes a long way. And when we know ourselves, and how do we know ourselves? It's through meditation, through journaling, through different breathing techniques, we figure out what our deeper values are. And then when we can align ourselves to the deeper values, then all those noise that happens, we are able to filter that noise and be able to get to where we are, because then we will be surrounded by, we will, that opportunity will be there where you get to meet people that will uplift you and will help you grow, because now it's all about, you know where you want to go, and then you're going to go there. I know you're not sure how to get there, but it's okay. But just taking one step at a time, we'll be able to get there. Um, and yes, and like you said, time is the precious currency that is out there. How we can best make use of our time goes a long way.
Yeah.
Meditation, actually, by meditating, taking rest, you are actually gaining time, because that is helping you to reset, rejuvenate yourself, and then figuring out which thoughts are essential and which are garbage. That kind of clarity will come when you do meditation and when you do breathing. Yeah.
Yeah, and like as our conversations has flowed, there's no one path that can
Yeah.
really define one, like how like to get a career or maybe to get a really settled life, right? And there's like so much opportunity out here, and it's like society like has even changed their mindsets a lot, like and it's like it's evolving, and I think people really need to evolve too. Like I feel like really valuing yourselves first through really just taking care of ourselves can help us in so many ways, as because as a community we can produce so much more innovation, whether it be through climate change or just tech or maybe the startup industry or anything. Like I feel like it all just starts with us to build a community, and then who knows what comes afterwards.
Yeah. Because when we work on those four pillars,
Mhm.
body, mind, intellect, and spirits, we are actually inspiring others as well by
Yeah.
doing this. And when we inspire others, it's just a ripple effect, you know? It grows in such a way that when I'm able to love myself, take care of myself, and I'm able to focus on what I can control,
Mm.
then the doors just open, opportunities just open, and you become the best version of yourself, because we learn that ability to let go what we can't control. So many things that are happening outside we just can't control, but what I can control is my reaction towards it.
Yeah.
So and and also my emotions, being able to fully be aware and master my emotions goes a long way. And figuring out, why do I feel this way? What is it that my body wants? What is it that my mind wants? And then being able to feel through it and knowing that they all will pass through will go a long way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, yeah, thank you for being here today. And yeah, if you have any last words you'd like to share with the audience, any insights.
Yes, I would say in 2025, make 2025 your masterpiece. Love yourself, know yourself, and know what you can control. And journal, 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 journal. Journaling is a conversation that you will have with yourself, and you will know through that journal what thoughts to retain and what thoughts to discard. And once you become the best version of yourself, and it's a journey,
Yeah.
there's nothing perfect, it's progress. But once you get to know yourself through the four pillars that we talked about:
Hmm.
physical fitness, mental fitness, intellectual fitness, and spiritual fitness, then we are not just living, but we are thriving.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. It was really good talking to you, Vaishali, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to Caragina Conversations. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube and Spotify channels.